Hi, welcome to this revision video where I'm looking at random exam style questions for GCSE level maths, and it's a mixture of higher tier and foundation, and as I go through I'll be very explicit and clear on which questions are for foundation and which questions are for higher. Okay, so this is a fantastic revision and a really good revision video, okay, that looks at random exam style questions from previous exam papers, okay, and it helps you just give you that extra bit of confidence, okay, with looking at some random topics for GCSE level maths, okay. Right guys, we're going to start with question number 1. Work out 2/3 of 48. So this is what I call a fraction of an amount. I divide by the denominator and then times by the numerator. So divide by the bottom times by the top. 48 divided by 3 is 16. Okay, so 1/3 of 48 is 16. 2/3 is 16 times 2. Okay, so 2 lots of 16. Which is 32. Now I can do it another way, which is times by the top and then divide by the bottom. That's also fine. So I can do 2 times 48, which is 96, divided by 3, and I get 32. So either way is fine, guys. Okay, this is question number 2. Find the value of x when 2x plus 3 equals 0. Well, I take away 3 on both sides to balance the equation. So I get 2x is equal to -3. 2x means 2 times x. So the opposite of times by 2 is dividing by 2. So dividing both sides by 2, I get x is equal to -3 over 2, or -3 halves, or -1.5, or -1.5. Either one of those answers is sufficient and correct, okay? This is question number 3. 6x minus 15. So factorize this, so put it into a single bracket. So the highest common factor of 6x and 15, so 6 and 15 is 3. So 3 is the biggest number that goes into both 6 and 15. That is the largest possible number that goes into both. Okay, 3 brackets 2x minus 5, brackets closed. Okay, this is question number 4. Expand this single bracket. 5z times z is 5z squared. So be very careful. Remember that z times z is z squared. 5z times positive 18 is positive 90z. Okay, so each term is being multiplied by 5z, which is on the outside of the bracket. Okay. This is question number 5, guys. Find the value of 2 cubed times 5 squared. Well, 2 cubed means 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8. 5 squared means 5 times 5, which is 25. So 8 multiplied by 25. Well, 4 times 25 is 100. So double that, because times it by 8 is the same as times it by 4, then times it by 2. So I get 200. This is question number 6, guys. A random fact here. Okay, angles in a triangle add up to 180 degrees. Okay, so make sure that you remember that. Okay, if you're ever given like a triangle question where they give you 2 angles and then they ask you to work out the 3rd angle, angles in a triangle add up to 180 degrees. This is question number 7, guys. Factorize y squared minus 64. So again, that's the difference of 2 squares. So it's double brackets. It's y plus the square root of 64 times y minus the square root of 64. Now the square root of 64 we should know is 8, because 8 squared is 64. 8 times 8 is 64. 8 8s are 64. So it's y plus 8 times y minus 8. Okay, factorizing the difference of 2 squares. Okay, when it's a letter squared minus a square number, it's always that letter plus the square root of that number times that letter minus the square root of that number. Okay, this is question number 8, guys. Work out 1/5 times 2/7. So multiplying fractions, all I do is times the top numbers together and the bottom numbers together. 1 times 2 is 2. 5 times 7 is 35. So it's 2/35. Okay, this is question number 9. So we are asked to just find the values of 64 to the power of a third, 64 to the power of a half, 8 to the third, 3 to the minus 2, 10 to the power of 0. Well, 64 to the power of third, guys, we should know that's the cube root of 64, which is 4, because 4 times 4 times 4 is 64. 64 to the power of a half is the square root of 64, which is 8. 8 to the power of a third is the cube root of 8, which is 2. 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. 3 to the minus 2, well, the negative makes it the reciprocal, so it's 1 over 3 squared, which is 1 over 3 times 3, which is 1 over 9. And then lastly, 10 to the power of 0 is 1. Anything to the power of 0 in maths is just 1. Okay. This is question number 10. Solve this equation, giving your answer in third form. Solve 3x squared is equal to 15. Well, if I divide both sides by 3, I get x squared is equal to 5. Okay. X is equal to plus or minus the square root of 5. Okay, so square root of 5 is what I call a third, okay, because it doesn't give me a exact whole number when I take the square root. Okay, so root 5 is what I call a third. This is question number 11. Is 2 cubed equal to 6? Yes or no? The answer is no, because 2 cubed, or 2 to the power of 3, means 2 times 2 times 2, and not 2 add 2 add 2. So 2 to the power of 3 means 2 times 2 times 2, okay? Just to be explicitly clear, because I have seen those sort of questions just pop up, where it says, is 4 squared equal to 8, okay? So make sure that you are happy with those. Right, guys, that is the end of today's video, so I hope you found it useful, okay? For question 1, that's a foundation tier question. For question 2, that's also a foundation tier question, but it might also be appropriate for higher tier. For question 3, that's explicitly foundation tier only. Question 4 is a mixture of higher tier and foundation. Question 5, I would say, is foundation only, but it is also appropriate for higher tier as well. Question 6 is foundation tier only, but it's needed for harder questions on the higher tier. Question 7 is a mixture of foundation and higher tier. Question 8 is foundation tier explicitly. Question 9 is higher tier explicitly, apart from 3 to the minus 2, so they can put that on a foundation tier. So make sure that you're happy with your negative indices, okay? And also power of 0, okay, for foundation tier as well. Question 10 is explicitly higher tier only, okay, solving equations, or solving quadratics involving thirds. And question 11 is foundation tier only, okay, and these are all from previous exam past papers, okay. Right, guys, so that is the end of today's video. So I hope you found it useful. I hope you found it informative. If you did, please press like. Please subscribe to the channel if you're new. And lastly, please click that bell icon so you don't miss out on further videos and further uploads. Okay, but that's it for me today, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you for the next one. Bye for now.